Kia ora, welcome to the Justin Rogers podcast. Today's guest is Conor Bowden. Conor is a independent filmmaker, what he'd call a DIY filmmaker. And Conor and I have been friends for years. Conor's one of the first people I knew in Auckland when I moved to Auckland. We met through a mutual friend, Tim, who we talk a little bit about Tim. Tim Earl and I went to drama school together. And Conor and Tim went to high school together. They used to make movies. I used to flat with Conor. And yeah, on my first night in Auckland, I was so hungry and discombobulated. I didn't know where anything was. I kind of just met Conor, and then he took me to Pizza Hut. So it's one of my first Auckland memories. And I didn't know what the Pizza Hut was until years later. I figured out it was Mount Albert Pizza Hut. So Conor's always had my back. And Conor has got a movie that is coming out in this year's New Zealand International Film Festival. One of his dreams, all-time dreams since he was a teenager, was to make a feature film. And has made a feature film, and it's in the film festival. And it's called The Ungrateful Tenant. It's a silent movie. There's a live orchestra that's going to be playing the score at the opening. It is about the renting crisis here in Auckland specifically. Conor's had a lot of experience going to different flats, haven't we all? And so the movie's about that. And I get to be in the movie. I play a real estate agent. And the movie was made over the span of 4.5 years, pulling in time and people as and when possible. And Conor taught himself how to act, I guess is how you'd put it. But I think, Conor is an actor. But knew that it would be difficult to get another person to be the main in his feature film. So just decided, well, it's going to be me, as in going to be Conor. So yeah, Conor's acting in this film does a really amazing job. Like, it's totally believable and big and hilarious and in the vein of those, Buster Keaton and Charlie Chaplin type films. Conor and I had a really great conversation about creativity, the creative process, how to get something that you have, specifically like a film, out there and just made, and how to use declarations to people, how to use people, not use people, but utilize people in order to get your thing made. Kind of talks about, having an idea and gauging its validity or validating it, I suppose, by talking to people about it. Yeah, I found actually there's some really concrete tips from Conor about how to get your thing made. And I'm really inspired by how he's created this film and literally living his dream to have a movie in the film festival. So I had a really great chat with Conor. We talk about movie recommendations as well. And we talk a lot about the creation of The Ungrateful Tenant. So enjoy this episode with Conor Bowden. Oh, are we matching?
Yeah, look at that.
Yes. Yeah, I think
water from last night? No. Picked it up beside my bed.
My mum always used to tell me that I shouldn't drink stagnant water. Is that true?
I'd say she's right. I'm just doing it.
In my head, it's like mosquitoes or something lay eggs in it.
That's what that was.
yeah, extra protein. Oh. Conor, thank you so much for being on my podcast.
Thank you so much for having me, Justin.
I have got all these questions that I'd love to ask you. And maybe before we get into that, like, it's a big week for you coming into next week. And I just said you've done a lot of podcasts and interviews, which I didn't actually know. So like, what's that been like having these opportunities coming your way and having to talk about the film lots? Like, what is this moment for you?
Yeah, it feels great. First of all, like I feel I'm so impressed with myself that I feel prepared for this, and I guess it's just because of the long time of making the film. And as you know, I just, like, anyone I've run into, that's all I've talked about for the past 4.5 years is like this movie.
That's good, right? Because I feel like sometimes when interviews come our way, it's a bit like, oh, I've got to get tight and prepare, or like make sure that Yeah, so you've
But
had a long lead in.
I've had a spiel, for the past several
What's the
years. And I've just
spiel? What's the spiel?
oh God, this is no, no. Yeah, I think I've said like, it's a silent feature film about the absurdity of renting, shot on a smartphone in my flat.
Yeah,
I'm the Charlie Chaplin of it all.
yeah.
And it's the setup has been very people are like, oh yeah, I understand what that is, which has been
Mm.
great. Um, but yeah, I felt prepared strangely for this moment. But the premiere will be so strange, lovely, but I know it's going to be really
Yeah,
a really interesting, I mean, I guess surreal is actually the right word. It's going to feel surreal to have the premiere
because it's
because
something that's been a long time coming, or what do you think's surreal about it?
it's been made by a tiny group of people
Mm.
a beautiful group of people, including yourself, but in the smallest way possible. And its first instance of being seen publicly is a completely sold out cinema with
Wow.
live accompaniment. Like it feels like on a beautiful extreme. And I was going through yesterday the comps seating because we've got
Yeah,
50 comps for the
yeah,
screening and
yeah.
literally doing like names for seat placements, which it like feels like wedding vibes. Like,
Yeah.
the whole offices that I've worked with are coming. It sort of feels very yeah, feels like the closest I'm gonna get to a wedding.
Well, I was just gonna say,
Right?
like, it's kind of like we're having everyone in your life come together for this thing
Yeah.
that
Yep.
has, in the same way as perhaps a relationship is a
Yep.
private thing, like
Yes.
you're
Yeah.
together with this person, you're getting to know each other, and suddenly it's
Yeah.
like, we're getting married. It's similar to the movie because, I mean, a lot of it is really was just you. Like
Oh my
quite literally
goodness.
something that we see will just be you. And then so suddenly
Sorry.
how
Silent, sorry.
unprofessional. It's a silent film. Um yeah, okay. And
I will say though, I actually think it's closer to a divorce, actually.
tell me
In a
about that.
way. Because it's like goodbye movie that's taken 4.5 years of my life. Goodbye. Like,
Okay.
in a
Yeah.
way. So it's actually it's like inviting everyone to a divorce ceremony.
I wonder if people should do that. Didn't Gwyneth Paltrow do that with that guy from Coldplay? They had like a
Maybe conscious uncoupling.
uncoupling
Yes, yeah.
ceremony. Yeah.
Maybe I should
So
do that.
so that's funny. That's interesting that you feel like it's like a sweet goodbye. Like when or how has the relationship to the film evolved over when did it become something that was perhaps in the past more and do you know what I
I
mean? Like how has it changed?
I don't yeah, I think it hasn't got there yet. Uh, I think when we started making the film, like that very first day that we had together, like I don't know if you remember that when you came over
Yeah.
and helped shake the tree
Chocolate
and
tree,
yeah,
yeah, made a storm sequence.
yeah, yeah. Like back then, it felt it, and first of all, I love the film. I think
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
such
yeah.
a fan of it. But the process of making it for this long, it started in a very exciting way,
Mm,
like free and like you can do anything, which is so awesome. And I think as the years progressed, um, I realized the kind of I guess uh, what's the right word for it? The downside of identifying so closely with the
mm,
film. I felt I've been living the movie and I still live it right now.
yeah.
Literally, I live in the house that I filmed in.
Yeah,
But,
yeah, yeah.
I think in me, having that sort of like, up until like 2 months ago or even a month ago, taking myself back into my room, putting out the camera and filming pickups, you just feel like you're you're like, damn, I should be done with this. Like I should not be
Mm,
still like I think as an actor, I think that's been the tension. I've been like the lived experience of this character is actually not fun. And you'll see that and I mean the film is funny. I don't want to bag it. It's like really funny. But I think the film depicts a level of like uh tension, walking on eggshells, stress, like
Mm.
anxiety around money and all that sort of stuff. And to like delve into that like year on year and have to like retain that sense has actually for me personally been quite difficult. But you know, it's in the film, and I'm really proud of it. But I think that's where I'm like going to be glad to be like, that person on screen is not me. It is someone else.
Yeah.
Because it's felt like me, and you know this. I'm called Connor off, like, you know, outside of the film. We just call each other our own names
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
scenes. Um, yeah, it's been hard to just differentiate between me and their character. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think like yours is a pretty unique position with like when people do projects, I feel like it's a very common thing to be in that stage of being really excited and you've got the idea and it's like, great, we're going to get out there and do it. And, you know, the first weekend is really awesome and the second weekend is pretty good. And then to keep going through that and then for it to actually get to completion, I think that's a rare position that people often have either given up by now. And so is it a new experience to be this robust and this familiar with a project where it really is like slog is not quite the right word because you know we do want
Mm,
to make these things that we're making, but you know
mm,
it's very professional of you in a way where it's like, well, you
mm.
have to make it, and it's not always fun because I think fun and excitement really fuels us for a long time. But now that
Yes.
you know 4 years, that's more than just inspiration. There's something else going on. Like you're really pushing through to make this happen. Is this a new thing, or is this what happens for you?
I think I like to say that I lived off the fumes of the idea for the
Yeah.
past like 4 years. Like it was talking to people and seeing their interest in the project and seeing,
Um,
I think that, you know, if I didn't see potential in it and I couldn't see potential from other people, I probably wouldn't have. It would have moved somewhere else. I mean, I don't know if I would have given up on it. I think I just might
um,
have finished it sooner, or maybe it would have become a short film or something. But I think it was other people's, uh, yeah, when they could see what I was doing, their excitement around it, and also just the themes. Like, I'm really frustrated with the state of renting, in New Zealand at the moment, and how it's been for a long time. And I think I was like, I can totally see this film being able to be a part of that conversation. Yeah, I could just, yeah, I think that's what drove me to keep going. And also, we want to be filmmakers. Like, you know,
yeah.
like I've been trying to make a feature since I was a teenager.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
so it would be like, if I couldn't, you know, if we couldn't finish it, it's like, what have I been trying to devote my entire adult life to?
Yeah. Well, okay. So tell me about that. Like, because I know a little bit of your origin in terms of making films when you're a teenager and Tim, and I've seen some of the stuff that you guys made. Like, what even made you want to make movies? Was there a moment? Was there a movie? Did you meet someone? Like,
Yes,
what was
I
the thing?
think it was Hitchcock's Rear Window. Like,
Oh,
that was
okay.
like
Yeah. Yeah.
the movie that made me go like, oh, that's what a director does. And then I think
How old
it
were you?
was like 16. It's August 29th, 2009 was the date
Is-
that I saw it. Because
Why do you know?
I worked at the DVD store years later, and I went back at my profile to see the exact date. And then for years, I would have like a Rear Window anniversary. We've stopped doing that. I know.
You need it. I think you should start doing that again. Wait, what was it? 20 of August? Was it?
2009, 29th of August. Yeah.
You need to reinstate that because I.
I need to start. Do you want to come
So
along? I'll get it set up after the
yeah, yeah.
premiere.
So you were working at the DVD store, which is kind of like you couldn't write a better origin for
Mm,
a filmmaker. But
yeah.
was there something ahead of that that told you to even work at the DVD store?
I think it was uh yeah, I obviously made a film with Tim in high school called Nocturnal Fear. Spooky. That was our first film we made
Nocturnal Fear.
together.
I think I saw
Nocturnal
some of
Fear.
that.
You've
What was
seen
that?
it,
What's
yeah.
Nocturnal Fear about?
Tim like it's just a spooky movie. Tim gets dropped home from a late night with a mate or something. I'm really giving more to the story than there actually is. And Tim's like, going down the driveway, like terrified, like, oh my God, I've been dropped at the end of the driveway. My driveway's
Yeah.
spooky. Gets inside, no one's home. Like, and mum calls, and it's my mum in her beautiful Irish accent. And she's like,
Also, Ungrateful Tenant's not her first.
no, it's not. No, what she say? She's something about like, I forgot to put the bins on the road. And then Tim's like, fuck, I have to go outside and put the
Yeah,
bins on
yeah,
the road. And then like Tim like, procrastinates and then gets a text
yeah,
from mum saying, have you put the bins out? And then Tim goes and tries to put the bins out and then gets locked outside. And there's this whole like, oh my God, outside's really spooky. It's about overcoming your fears. But
yeah.
I should
But
put
like,
that up.
I feel like you should put that up, and or
It's ridiculous.
it's related to the Rear Window anniversary.
But
But I
but
mean, making it, yeah, yeah, go.
no, all I'd say is I think getting that made and then seeing audiences see it and react to it, I think that's what made me go like, I want to be a filmmaker. Sorry. Seeing like creating something visually, like telling a story with like images and sometimes dialogue and editing and having people like understand what you mean, even though
Mm,
you haven't like actively told them what to think and feel. Um, that's cool. I think I really like that part of it, seeing the
yeah,
audience reaction. So I think that's why I get a kick out of, you know,
it's so perceptive that you saw that at that young age. Like I remember when I went and saw Hunt for the Wilder People in the cinema,
yes,
and I just I was that was probably that was, whenever that was quite recent, and I
mm,
remember kind of having that realization where Taika's presence he was present in the cinema that
mm,
night that we watched
mm,
it, like, because he was setting things up and we were reacting to them, and while he wasn't there, he had made choices years ago or, and in the edit suite and things that was able to, yeah, get this reaction from people. And so you saw that when you put out, what is it, Nocturnal Fear,
nocturnal
which
fear. Yeah, with my
we
high
didn't know.
school
I know,
police.
we what is that? Um, and so where did you play it? Were you, like, showing
It was
people?
well. Sorry, I, I'm good. I just need to like clear my throat.
It's like that
Mm,
one, the movie You, Me, and Tim made with, with the
watch out, Justin,
yeah.
because last night, Tim said, can I get access to that file? I want to finish the sound on it. It's happening. I know. It's
That's the
coming
real
back.
this is the real reason I wanted to do the podcast with you, was
Yeah,
to just I need to release that film. I need to
it's
let people
coming
out my
back.
favorite. Wow, that's
um,
exciting.
Sidebar, sorry, I'll go back to your question,
Yeah,
but
no, no, go,
sidebar,
go.
Hunt for the Wilder People, I'm going to on Saturday if you're keen. It's at Hollywood
Oh,
Avondale. I think it's like a charity screening. It's at like 4 o'clock. Just saying, you might
when
have
is
seen
that
it
next Saturday?
recently.
Is that the first,
This
is it?
Saturday. Oh, we're talking tomorrow. And it's in
Tomorrow.
Avondale.
Oh, I
Sam Neill
might
tributes. You might
oh,
be, but
okay.
all weekend, just putting out there, all weekend Sam Neill tributes at the Hollywood Avondale.
They're doing Jurassic Park?
They are. They're doing it on
Oh, okay.
Sunday evening, I think.
Okay, that's good to know. So you screened your high school film. Yeah, where did you screen it? How were
At
you able to
at
get
hi-
that?
at high school, I don't know if you remember this competition. You must have had it with your school as well. The Cut, it's called Cut Secondary School, like short film competition, and
No, I
Wintech.
don't think we
I
did
don't
have
know.
that.
It was like some university in the North Island. I forget where they are, but they um you would submit your short film and then they'd pick like a top 10 and they'd give like it's like Oscars for high
Yeah,
school media
it's like
studies movies.
Space Challenge. It's like
And we yeah, exactly. We came runner up and got best editing. Shout out. So yeah, and I that's my favorite award I've ever got, probably ever.
yeah, yeah.
Um and yeah, they showed it at assembly because we'd got into the competition.
See, now I feel
It,
like that seems like a really important moment because also, I mean, I don't know what your high school experience was like, but that can be pretty intense to perform something in front of
yeah,
people, but then
I will say it actually, like, it was technically a bad screening in the sense that I'd output the wrong kind of file, and the sound played like 2 seconds slower than the video.
Classic. That's
So
classic.
so that was like, I was like, oh my goodness, this is a horror show. And to be fair, the film is also like quite, it's amateur. It's an amateur movie. So
Mm.
obviously a boys' high school back in the 2010s, like they found it more crack up than scary. You know what I mean? Like it
Yeah,
was,
yeah,
so it was
yeah.
also a surprise to me to be like, I thought they made something really serious. And I was like, no, people think this is just goofy.
Well,
Like,
that's such a helpful experience to have. It
yeah.
sounds like testing things with people is really alive in your practice. Like, because
Yes.
you having the spiel that you talk to people about, and that being part of it, like, oh, I have something here. How did that come about? Like, is that
I think probably just like, I mean, working in post production's a big thing about it. Like, you are constantly watching things down and checking things and, getting notes and stuff. So I think I'm very like versed in that. I think also like I want to, I wonder if you feel this too, this sort of thing of like you do want to see what, if you have an idea, you do
mm,
kind of want to see what other people think, maybe in a sort of anxious way of like, is it just
yeah.
me? Or, and you
Mm,
can tell, I find you can tell when people, even if like they give you a positive reaction, you can sort of tell if if there's something not quite right about it.
mm,
Um, it's hard when that happens, like when you're like, you tell someone what you're working on,
yeah.
they're like, ah,
I feel
or,
I feel
or,
like that.
or,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
they go, I love it, I love it. I saw a film the other day, just
Is
like, or
is
it's just
that
something that
bad
you're like,
too? That's bad as well, right? If
yeah,
someone
where
does
you're
that.
like, oh my goodness, which is fair enough, but that's the point of it. You need to sort of like know
That's
what you're
so
making.
cool that you do that, because I feel like that's really scary, and I feel like it takes work on my behalf to feel like you're ready to share with someone. How do you know at what point it's useful? Like, when it's formed in your mind, when it starts to get useful to start getting that feedback from people?
I don't know. I think I do. I think I just, maybe I'm an oversharer. I do sort of just say things like maybe there's some things if I know I can't really explain them very well.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I think, I don't know, like there is a reward in telling people and getting a positive reaction, and I think I do seek that out.
Well, I feel like that's
Like,
really helpful because,
it can slow you down. I will say it can slow you down because you go,
tell me
oh,
about
great,
that.
I've got it. Well, because you're like, I got a great idea. Amazing, cool, done, great idea. You know?
Well, that makes me think of, I remember Nicole Kidman in a interview, someone asked her, like, "What are some goals you have? Like, as in, what's a role you wanna play?" And she got really coy, and she was like, "I'm not gonna tell you." And I said, "Why?" And she said, "Oh, because when I say it for her, when I say it out loud, it almost as though the goal has happened. It's so she gets this kind of reward,
Completely agree.
and then she, like, loses her hunger, and if she doesn't actually do it. But it sounds like there's a different wiring for you, like, sounds like you go, "Hey, I do this thing, and do you like it?" And then you're like, "Oh, yeah, great, I can see that there." It's kinda like validation.
Yes, but I do agree that it does. You do think you've already done it, like that. I would agree with that. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
there are. I can remember many conversations. One that I had with I think I said Jacob from is it
Toy.
Jacob? No,
Oh,
sorry, not
Jagarajan. Yeah,
Jacob.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Jacob
from
Martin from Indian.
Indian Ink. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah. And obviously I admire him, and
Yeah, yeah.
him validating the idea. I was like,
Yes.
oh, great, cool, sweet. And it was
Yeah.
like 2 years into the project, so no wonder it kept taking so long because like
Yeah.
I
Well,
was like,
perhaps
great,
part
we
of it
got
is
it.
like because maybe in your spiel as you're saying, "I'm making it now," and it's as opposed to like, "I've got this idea."
Yeah,
So
true.
I think maybe what's happening is you're also building in what is it called? Accountability.
Accountability,
Yeah,
maybe? Yeah,
yeah,
a
yeah,
little
yeah.
bit.
Sounds like what I
Yeah,
have to do.
yeah. I know. I mean, I guess that was the point of like doing that fundraiser last year.
Mm,
The boosted fundraiser that did definitely make me accountable for sure because I said outright it would be completed to screen before the general election, which that
wow.
was quite a big actually like thing to
Mm,
say because it's like post production can take years, like it,
yeah,
and I was not prepared for a reality where we didn't make that deadline because
mm,
the there would be no shame in it. There would be no shame in it at all, but I would feel really bad if I'd
yeah,
said and if I had asked people to donate to this cause with this goal in mind and then have
yeah.
not reached it. I think that made me really feel really responsible to get it
Totally. Well,
finished.
it just feels like you've figured out a way to what was that? Some
Well,
random noise.
that was probably me just like going,
Oh, right.
Justin, cut that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We'll edit it in post. Post-production, it's gonna take years though. Um, is what was I gonna say? Oh, it feels like you've figured out a way to get yourself to do things, like
Mm,
to make yourself follow through. Um, because there's like this thing that you're saying about since you were a teenager, you wanted to make a feature film. So that's a big impetus. And then there's this other kind of, I suppose, downside. If you don't, this is it. And then setting yourself the deadline publicly and getting support from people. And it's like, that's crazy brave, man. Like that's
mm.
crazy. That's like, there's that phrase, if you want the island, then you burn the boats. So have you heard that before? You take the boat to the
No,
island.
that's an amazing. That's an amazing
Yeah.
saying, though.
It kind of
Did I
reminds me
do
of
that? Imagine.
the Odyssey. Oh my, have you seen the Odyssey?
Oh,
I saw it at IMAX. I saw it at
loved
IMAX.
it.
I really
I saw
loved it
it
as well.
10 a.m. a few days ago. Half price Tuesdays.
IMAX?
Incredible.
IMAX?
Half price IMAX. I say
Yeah.
$14 IMAX ticket Tuesdays.
Okay, that's good to know. But anyway, there's this idea that, you take your army and your battalion to the island, and if you want them to conquer that island, we're burning the boats because we're not going back. There's no going back. So there's no thing to do but to take over the
I
island. And
get,
that's what you did.
yeah, I guess so. That was the sort of like, well, it was either that or like, have people be like, oh, whatever happened to that film? And I'm like,
Mm,
there was no giving up really. There was no option at that point in me, like as a person. Surely, obviously you can
mm,
absolutely at any point if things aren't working, you can absolutely go,
yeah.
actually, this isn't for me anymore. But
Mm.
I just don't think I could have not finished it. And
Well,
we're
how
very
did
lucky. Like, what I will say is, like, all these things, like, it all happened in stages. So it sounds, I guess when I talk about it, it sounds like an extreme goal, but actually, you just had to get like one thing at a time. It was like, we did that shoot at the end of the year. That was like one thing. Complete the filming, tick that off, get a cut together, show it to whānau marama,
mm,
get it into the festival, like another tick. Like, once those things started to happen, it all became very clear. If we didn't get into the film festival, it might have looked completely different. I might not have the film finished yet. Um, but yeah, it's broken down into chunks.
is that something that you like? Where do those chunks come from?
I
Because
think
that
it's
feels
just
like
like,
a skill, right?
well, I think you're just like focusing on the thing immediately in front of you. Because if you focus on the entire thing, like the goal, it's overwhelming. So it was just like, got the money for finishing the film, like the money that we'd raised to finish filming. All we got
Mm,
to do is finish filming, and then I can take a beautiful break and then get the film. Like it was
yeah.
smaller. They don't sound small, but like, yeah.
Is that because that's like you're saying that like it's just the normal thing to do, but that's kind of a skill that you have to
Okay.
develop. Do you know what I mean? Like to understand that just thinking about getting it into the film festival or getting it finished is kind of too big a chunk to what do I do today? You know, what do I do today? And do you think that because you were quite literally pressing play on a record on the phone and then coming around the front where you were doing every single step, did that help it being chunked down or like what was the thing?
I, I think yes, definitely the kind of ability to be like I can, you know, worst case scenario, I can attempt to do as much of it myself. I think that was helpful.
Yeah,
But I
yeah.
will say, with the sort of, one step at a time thing, that's hugely something that Annabelle and Callum, I'll quote them, name drop here, Annabelle Keane, Callum
Yeah.
Devlin, we know and
Yeah.
love them, sports team.
Yeah.
That's a massive thing I learnt from them, especially
Mm,
in their experiences with the weed eaters that they had last year and continue to have. Like
mm,
that for them was a lot of like, you know, um, it was a similar thing of like a project going from just being made between a group of people on a very small scale and then, external interest and then suddenly it grows into something else. And yeah, their whole thing was like one step at a time, one thing at a time. And when we were, you know, getting those shoots ready and trying to finish the film over the last year, yeah, that's been really helpful to hear that from them. The sort of
mm.
like one step at a time, which is,
I feel like it's so maybe it's a unique thing of filmmaking is because to do one step at a it's so active and it's also so binary or it's so black and white as to whether or not you've done the thing. So, you know, you knew that weekend when I came to help with the storm sequence that you needed to get this, you know, you had your shot list. And so you know if you have done the shot list or not. Whereas I feel like there is even like a theater show, even trying to put a theater show on, it's like, oh, we'll get in a room, you know, and we'll
totally.
like it's there's this kind of fluffiness. Was there a part of the creation process that felt a little less tangible that you found harder to chunk down?
Well, I guess not having a script for most of it was the hard, that was truly the hard thing. I mean, and credit to you, Justin. I mean, you were massive in me having the drive to keep going because you were someone I knew. Tim, like everyone, Annabelle, Callum, everyone
Mm,
who
mm.
I'd had working on it. I remember you would say like whenever, just anytime I'm there, I'm ready. Like having that reassurance, even though I know obviously things would come up. It's not like
Yeah, yeah.
I never expected that I'd be like Justin right now. But but knowing that I had someone and many people along the way who were 100% like, yes, it's happening.
Mm, mm.
Like you can't keep going without that. And like especially that first day when I think I didn't reach out to you initially because we'd done that short film with Tim and I'd never finished it. And I was
Hey,
like,
but now
I
it's
was
about
exactly. I was like,
yeah.
Justin, I don't want to ask Justin to be involved in something that I'm not going to finish again. Like, I didn't want to, so
Which is so
but
funny
then
because that's such a story, like, because in my head, from that point of view, I'm like, I would do 100 unfinished films with you. You know what I mean? So it's just like, it's just kind of
I
like
think
doesn't even
totally.
yeah.
And I mean, when I reached out to you, I'm sure I have the text somewhere, but you were like, it was like
Yeah, we
the
need to find the
night
date,
of.
and then we need to
Yeah,
have
yeah,
a yearly thing.
exactly.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I hit you up every time to come and
yeah.
film a scene. We
Yes,
make a
yes,
movie that way.
yeah.
But no, you coming along and because it was such an absurd thing. Like I was gonna just film, or I had this random idea to film an entire scene of
Mm,
like wind blowing through my chimney, like which is it's in the film a little bit. It is still in the film, Justin. I will say it's you if it's went in vain. But yeah, I was like, well, I'll just get this one sort of visual sequence. And I think we ended up, obviously it takes so long. We did like the master shots of it. But
yeah.
like, I couldn't do that by myself. I literally could not, and I needed help. And you coming and helping for that, that was massive because it was like, great, it's on the road, like the train's on the track sort of thing. Whereas,
Mm.
because otherwise it can happen if you're just, if it was just me trying to make it all the time, it's like, well, it can happen anytime. Like there's no,
Mm.
there's no imperative for it to have happened within those hours that we shot that first scene.
Yeah.
Like, you know?
It sounds, I was talking to John Hunter the other day, and one of the things he was talking about was the power of community. Was if there's a change that you want to make in yourself, or there's a different level of work that you want to create, or any essentially goal, he was saying how important a community is in order to do that. And it sounds like all of like my questions around pushing the thing forward, you're really plugging into the power and resource of other people as a way. And I mean, maybe part of it is like what I hear is you like don't want to let people down, which is such a wonderful trait. As we kind of like, I think I have that thing as well. But perhaps in my version, I'm like, I don't want to let people down, therefore I won't even call them. So like, it's amazing that you had that or bravery. I don't know that bravery is the word, but you had the thing of doing it anyway, which is heroic. If someone is afraid and does something, that's the definition of a hero. Um, so yeah, what made you still reach out and ring people? Was it like I'm gonna make this thing, or the dream, or what was it?
I think, I mean, to be fair, all this whole thing of making this film is crazy out of character for me. Like, and I think
Well, I don't know how long you can say that for. In the same way that you're a the same way that you are an actor because you're in a feature film, but
true.
I think that's
Maybe
an
I've
amazing.
grown into something that I
But tell me about
wasn't.
what did exist for you, like it was out of character for you.
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, I often say like the making going when we had our COVID lockdowns, having to
Mm,
make films on your own, like
mm,
literally on your own. I will say my dad helped a little bit in one of them. But like that, like I think I being able to be like, oh wow, I in that instance could, act in the film, do it on my phone, make a story, get it seen. They've felt like some sort of power in that like like worst case scenario, if no one's
mm,
available, it can keep going. So I think as much as obviously the film needed other people to help and make it happen and work on it and give their time to it and everything, I think having that sort of like at the worst case, like if people can't show up on the day, there is a way to make it work.
wow. Yeah,
But in
yeah.
the end, actually, really that wasn't true because I learned through the making of the film that like you can't actually make a film on your own, Connor. It's not fun, and not that it needs to be fun all the time, but it's like painful to try do it.
Mm,
And like there's a skill in involving other people that you don't you you lack if you
mm,
are just like, oh well, I'll just do it on myself and like
yeah,
there's something
yeah.
to be said in collaborating with people and getting that and I learned that the most in post production on this. I was like, this is the moment where actually the film, it's other people's jobs to do this stuff. Like,
Mm,
it's not it's not your job to do the music. It's not your job to do the sound design, to do the grade, to do or the sound mix, or do the VFX. That's someone else's job, and it's their they need to have ownership over that.
mm,
To do their best work. And after 4 years of being like, oh, I'll just um all go, I'll try my best to do as much as possible. It was actually a
mm.
relief to be like, these people are excellent and they know exactly
You're
what they're
owning
doing.
this outcome.
Let
You
them
do.
do it. And
Yeah.
they get the film. The film's been going for like years. They understand what it is. And it was actually like such a joy to like, you know, in a space of a week or two, watch down like a grade or the sound mix or hear back the music and
Mm,
see VFX and titles and go, this is like a beautiful thing that I had no part in, and that's someone else's part of it. And I just feel so lucky that it's in the film. And so now I'm like, that's what I want
You
now.
that's what you want in terms of, like, how you wanna work?
I want to be collaborating way more. Yeah. Way more. Never again, I keep saying, never again will I make a film this way. Sorry if this is like going to end up being a sort of what not to do.
No, it's really not, like, it's well, 'cause a what not to do is actually a what to do in a way, um, and well, actually, to that end, one question I'm curious about is, okay, hypothetically, you have this recipe book. It's called, there's a picture of your face on the front, and it's called How to Make a Movie by
Okay.
Conor Bowden.
Yeah.
And you give it to, a young 16-year-old who perhaps has just, started working at the DVD shop. Um, and I think specifically around those initial stages, because it sounds like what happened with the snowball effect of yours was you were just so on the line of what you wanted to do, and you were free and asking people to help, and then people helped and it grew and grew. Mainly around that initial stage of like, what is the step-by-step recipe that you would give? And, take that lightly.
Mm,
Especially around the instigation phase of getting an idea and then what happens first and what to do next and what order. And also, because I know there was a chunk of time where you were walking into town, getting a coffee, same cafe, and you
mm.
were typing for an hour, like, yeah, what are those initial stages? What's the recipe to get going?
I think, yeah, my thing would be like start before you're ready and like start the making as soon as possible. Like, obviously, yes, like writing a script and all that sort of stuff. Like, yes, you need that and whatnot, but that doesn't mean to say you can't just like pick up a camera and start filming some scenes if you have an idea, even if it's like you're still working on the script. Um, there's something I think that it's good for filmmakers to have like a tangible part of
Mm,
their film, even if it's like, you know, you're like, I just filmed like a little character intro or something, or like a little, you know, yeah, even if it, yeah, just something that gets you over that hurdle of the script writing phase, because that takes years um and sometimes you just want to get a film made in the space of like a year. And I think I don't envy, but I admire musicians for how, like, if they want to write a song, and you'll know it's like you pick up the guitar, you like
mm,
um you could within a day maybe have a complete song like that. You can be like, there's my song here. Whereas
mm,
like, for filmmaking, a lot of the time, maybe you just have like the script. That's your, and then you've got like a whole other stage to do. So, or um, so I think like, yeah, I don't, yeah. Basically, what I guess I'm saying is like maybe I got this film finished and through, with everyone else through the stages by following a not as sort of three-step method of write script, make the film, edit the film. It was have the idea, film a scene, edit it together, um, go back to the plot, figure out
mm,
where that fits in, film something else. Like I was jumping all through the process. And while it was messy and that's why it took, 4.5 years, it
mm,
meant that like I was making a movie. I wasn't like, I could say I'm actually making a film.
mm,
And whereas, I think if I had sat down and started writing it, it would have gone it would have been years of writing, which is great, awesome. You would have come up with an incredible script, but I wouldn't be here today with a finished film. I would probably
mm.
have gone for funding. I might have got funding, and we might still be in the process of trying to, get that made. But, yeah, I think trying to get to the actual making as quickly as possible and doing it
Yeah.
before you're ready is really important. I think, um, I think there's power in filmmakers just like getting out and trying to make their first feature. It's
Mm.
hard, it's expensive as well. So I totally
Well, I
acknowledge
also
that
think
funding's
it
important.
yeah, I
Yeah.
also just really admire, like, because what's amazing about, like, the spiel, for instance, of your film is the smartphone piece is actually a really small piece of it. You know, the
Mm, mm.
silent film is that's a big piece of it, and, you know, it's in black and white, which even that's so funny that that's a thing, but, oh my god, it's in black and white. And I remember years ago, talking to you about that. I think it was Francis Ford Coppola said that filmmaking will be a real art form when the tools to make it are as cheap as pencils and paintbrushes and
I've never
this
heard
is
that. That's amazing.
yes. I think this is what he said, and I just love the moment that we're in now, and you're kind of a living testament of it. It was like, well, I have a phone, and I'm going to use the skills that you have, because it's also not to say you could just draw a terrible picture, but then enacting your skill and your ability to change. So then, yeah, I suppose there's also that. Like, yes, it is expensive, but potentially the biggest expense is the cost on yourself to get brave enough to just go, I don't really have an idea, but I'm clicking record, which sounds like kind of scary.
No, and in all honesty, I think, and I mean, you're doing this as well, Justin. Like, I know that you have in on your hard drives, you've got parts of a feature
Yeah, this is
already,
true.
and
Yeah, this is true. Yeah.
we could be having a conversation in 2 years, and it's your film that,
Mm.
and there's bits in there that you would have been like, I can't believe that's playing on a cinema screen, like, because
You
at the
must be really
time,
good, right?
totally. Oh my goodness. Like, there are things
Yeah.
like I was talking to Freya Finch the other day, and Freya was like, I was just talking about the process, and Freya was like I was talking about how you like how I would like film
Yeah, yeah.
myself on the camera and then like go around and check, realize I wasn't in frame and refilm again. And Freya was like, is that stuff in the film? And I was like, yeah, it is. Like, it
Wow,
totally is.
yeah.
That some of that stuff is in the film. And what I
Yeah,
really want to do, once the film's like out there and it's like had a bit more of a life,
yeah.
because I don't want to ruin the spell of the movie,
Yeah. Well, it's
but
potentially might double the spell, but I'd say, yeah.
I do want to like put up maybe a montage of the behind the scenes, which are truly shocking, like actually shocking when you watch them in isolation. Like, there's one scene where me and Tim are filming, and it's an over the shoulder of Tim, um, and it's my face, and I'm obviously it's silent film, but there's talking because it's going through the camera mic, delivering the worst line reads ever from me.
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah.
and it's actual images that are in the film, but obviously you don't hear my voice. But yeah, the worst kind of acting
Yeah,
possible.
yeah.
And the camera is just slowly going, and then I clock it, and I'm like, oh my god, the camera, and the camera like falls, and I go to catch it. That
That's
that the
yeah.
first part of that shot is in the film, graded. It's got scored,
Mm,
but to like take it out of context and watch just how sort of
yeah.
DIY it was, you know?
It's amazing, like, and I think with this advice you've given, I think it's such strong advice of begin scripting, sure, and ideating, and I would even add in what you've said about talking to people about it. So if you've got this idea that genuinely excites you, and
Mm,
then chatting to people, "Hey, I'm thinking of this," and they go, "Hey, that's cool," and you go, "Oh, great." And then instead of resting on your laurels, you go, maybe you write a scene and then you film one, you know, you
mm.
do part of it. And then on top of that, I think, and I know that we've talked about, last year I did my 1 movie a day TikTok challenge,
Yeah, yeah.
and the amazing thing about that was I would just be forced. I had to, you know, I just had to make something in the day. So I was forced to. And then it wasn't until the edit often that I would look back on footage that I was like, well, that was bad. And we're definitely not using that. Where I would use things, part of my performance that actually I wasn't even doing on purpose, but it was like a breath in between stuff.
Mm,
And I take a cut there. And it's something about, and I know you've had this experience as well, potentially, with looking back at your work, but who are we to know what is going to be good or not, really? Like,
Yeah.
we have the sense before we're gonna shoot. So I'm gonna shoot something in the room here. Before we think, "Oh, it can't possibly be good." But then when you go back and look at it, there is so much stuff in there that you could use, and it's just kind of a different frame of reference. Like, when did that shift happen for you when you, because I know, you had classed yourself as not an actor, and then you put yourself on screen. When did you start to see the bits that were really, really good that you didn't expect? And then when did you start to actually be crafting your performance? Because from the cut that I saw, like the work you are an actor, like the looks and glances and the
Mm.
way that we're able to read story, no longer through you editing something, but through you processing and using your instrument as an actor. When did that change happen? Going from snatching things that are there and then actually crafting performance as an actor?
Yeah. Oh, I guess it's maybe it's in the same way of like doing self tapes and stuff, where like you're able to like do a performance and then watch it back and see what you thought you were doing versus what was actually on
Yeah,
camera. So
yeah.
I guess I just had that experience over and over again in the edit, going like, oh, I don't quite understand my performance there. We need to redo it, or I need to move it somewhere else. Yeah, I mean, I understand what you mean. There are definitely parts of the film where, like, I won't do it now because then you'll really see that I'm not an
Yeah, yeah,
actor.
yeah,
No,
yeah. Of course, of
but
course. No, you are,
but I,
you are.
no, I understand what you mean. It's well, the way the visual language of the movie specifically is like very much like a character looks somewhere, we see what they're
Yeah.
seeing. Like a lot of it is in just hitting those looks and in connections with other shots and other material.
Mm.
Um, I actually wanted to ask you a question, would you believe? Because
Yes.
you've seen the film. Did you watch some scenes and go, I didn't do that? Like, as in, because I know there's one scene where actually I have made a whole conversation between us that never existed.
Yes. No, I did, probably not in the extreme of, like, that didn't exist, but it's only because I have the reference of having used stuff of me not acting, because I've
Yes.
hit record on a movie of
Yeah.
mine and I'm like getting ready. And then I use that getting ready thing in the final thing. So yeah, when I watched the film, there were scenes that didn't exist, but I
Yes.
remember, I remember what you're capturing. I remember that
Yeah,
there's
cool.
something there, and I can
Because there
understand
is,
how, yeah,
I don't want to give away, break the spell, as I
yeah,
said before, but
mm,
there was one particular plot point that I never hit in the script. And it was like, oh, it wasn't there in the edit. And so I spent like, and obviously like there was no chance of doing any pickups or anything because I looked completely different and whatnot. But I spent like a good few hours making a back and forth between us that didn't exist. And obviously with intertitles, you just get someone to go rah rah, and then you say
yeah,
what they say.
yeah, yeah.
But I was also reversing because we only said one thing to each other in that
Yes.
exchange. So you went, and I went. And so for the next one, I
Wow.
reversed your, I like literally
Uh,
played you backwards and then I played me backwards.
Wow,
I
I'm
know.
so
So
done that. I'm so, like,
yeah,
I've, like, slowed stuff down and yeah, yeah, yeah.
totally. And so I know a lot of the actors in this film will watch it and go, that never happened. Like there are entire scenes in the film where the actual content of of the scene is completely different. Like the
Yeah.
characters are mad at each other instead of being maybe courteous. Like,
Mm, mm.
and in a way I feel like, I'm sure all my actors in the film would have loved to actually have just done the scene that ended up in the film so that they could actually give their performance. But in the edit, you're trying to solve so many story problems that you're like, I just have to make this story be different.
Mm.
And that is the downside of not having developed your script. Is that
Yeah.
you're not giving and I will say this is a criticism of myself, is that of my process at least, like, and what I want to do in the future. I want actors to like have the script and know, oh, this is like the intention of the scene. Whereas, as you
Mm.
know, in those early years of this film, it was like, okay, this is like vaguely what the scene is. Let's just kind of get it up on its feet. And
Mm.
then that material has ended up being repurposed completely differently in the final film. So I would love actually now to have a developed written script so that
Yeah,
my actors can give their can do the best version of what, if you understand, of what eventually it needs to be,
yes, yes,
you
I
know,
do know
because I know Tim's been like, oh, you know, I know Tim's completely happy with the way everything went and it's amazing, but also
Mm.
I know and many other actors, they would have wanted to yeah, if they were like, if I knew that's what the scene would be, like obviously would have done
Mm,
that.
mm.
Like,
Yeah, well, it's also like you just didn't know at that time, and what I
totally.
also hear is, like, that's so exciting for future projects because you'll be playing the same game, but just at a different, level of fixing, for want of a better word, like, where this version, because you didn't quite know what it needed to be yet, then the edit is big blocks moving around, whereas, in the future when you've got the script, the edit's gonna be, "Actually, no, it needs to be a breath in there," or, "Oh,
Mm,
great, actually, this
yeah,
moment needs to be
exactly.
elongated," which is like
Exactly.
it's they're 2 sides of the same coin in a way, and it sounds as well like your background as an editor really, really serves you to make it work, and that's such a we were talking about editing in class, in acting class last week, and how they say that the editor is the actor's best friend because they're making or breaking performance. And I think actors, I can only speak from my own point of view, actually. I can get very um myopic in my perception of my performance, and like especially because I do a lot of theater, so I am editing my performance live. Um but yeah, when I think about the fact and having seen it with the Italy movie, for instance, with me and Beth, seeing that same thing play out of like, well, I just didn't have enough energy to craft my performance in the way that I wanted. And I'm so grateful for our wonderful editor who was able to collaborate in that way. Um, yeah, I mean, I wonder if you have things to say about your work in editing and what that has taught you about acting or what that has taught you about filmmaking and your job on set actually, and your job in getting stuff to the edit suite.
I think actually, yeah, that my experience in editing has served me massively for this. Like, I think I know, like, you know, on every job I've worked on whether it's a film or a TV show or short film or whatnot, things change massively in the edit. And some of the greatest scenes you've ever seen in a film that you love might not have ever existed in the script or, you
Mm,
know, and it's amazing what editors are able to do. And like, they're problem solvers, really. They're story problem solvers is what, you know, is a lot of what they're doing. And I have to credit Kerry Roggio, my co-editor on this film. She unfortunately got a really awesome job opportunity when we were at the point of actually having to like edit the entire film.
mm,
But
mm,
she ended up like taking a couple of days here and there to take the cut away from me and work on it, and also just advised on it and gave me notes and feedback. And she's incredible at like structure and changing things. And
mm.
this, yeah, I think I just knew like nothing's when when you film, when you like shoot the film, like you might think that the story's like completely decided and like there's, you know, no fixing it, but um there's so much that can be done in the edit. Like, yeah, if you were to see the first cut of the film, I think you would have been like, "What is this movie?" But it's just amazing what can be done, and I know there's, like, the whole ending. Did you see the locked cut?
I don't know that I saw the locked one. The one I saw still had, stand-in shots, like, it didn't have
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think you must have seen the one with the end you know, our whole end scene is completely reordered and
Okay.
rearranged in a
Yeah.
way that it was never shot. And
Mm,
while that was a lot of work, I knew that we were like it could be done. Like,
mm.
um, yeah, there's so much can change and need it. So yeah, it was super helpful for me.
Yeah. Um, One thing I was interested to hear about was your training, like learning how to make movies.
Yeah.
What was that like? Because you went to B school, is that right?
Yeah, yeah. Broadcasting school. It was, yeah. I think it helped me greatly, like to be
Mm,
prepared for the industry. Like,
yeah.
definitely my working in that film industry, B school was great. But I think actually what's got me to this stage is like going back to the basics of like, you know,
Mm,
48 hours filmmaking.
yeah.
Like, I think that's
Yeah.
actually really where, I've, you know, created this sort of method, I guess, in a way. Yeah, I would say improv in high school, like theatre
Yeah.
sports,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
massively. You kind of learn very
Yeah.
quickly that you can go from having nothing and in the space of like 3 minutes have created an entire story and characters
Yeah.
and
Isn't
whatnot.
that, and that
Like,
feels, yeah. Yeah.
I think that was probably really set me up. Um, but
Mm.
yeah, I think, yeah, 48 hours, like,
Well, because it
just
feels
get,
like actually it's the art of just doing it. It sounds like what
mm,
you're doing, and
yeah,
and from like I love that analogy you've talked about of theatre sports, where it's like, yeah, we've got literally nothing, and then we have something, and then there's the ephemeral thing of theatre anyway. So it's like it existed for a moment, but what you're doing is you're capturing it. So it's like we had nothing, we get this shot, and no doubt your B school or your training or 48 hours taught you the craft of you need to get the
definitely.
coverage, and then
Yeah.
like there's actually so much possible inside of all that. And then I wonder as well, so one of my favorite things about you is your insane encyclopedic knowledge of film. And so like to what extent do you learn from film, or like, or is it more like a um, from a viewer point of view, or from one of awe, of just enjoying? Like, what is your relationship with movies and rewatching them, and
Yeah.
as a
I don't
maker or as an audience?
I must admit, the last 6 months, I've really struggled to watch movies, which has made me really sad. It's just
Yeah, yeah,
really hard to actually be watching them when you're trying to make a feature film, which I'll get
yeah,
back to it. I'm looking
yeah.
forward to the film festival. I get a
Me
festival
too.
pass.
Me
I don't know if you
too.
know that the directors. Sorry, humble brag. We get a little. Each director gets a little pass that gets you in for free to films. I know.
You are
So
joking. That's
watch out.
amazing.
I know I'm gonna
Oh,
be
that's really cool.
every
That's
day.
really
But yeah, I think I do watch them from I mean, I just love the form. And so, as a
mm,
viewer, storytelling, the way it's made and whatnot. But I think I'm very referential in my own films. Like I like to reference things, and I think
mm,
that's my relationship with films is often just like, yeah, in my own work I like to speak to other films. And I mean,
yeah.
making a silent film has sort of been part of that, like finding ways to do what they did in a modern context and whatnot.
Mm,
But in terms of like, I mean, I really love watching films. I love, ingesting them and the experience of
mm.
them. But I'm not like, but look, big news. I'm not like Martin Scorsese. That kind of filmmaker that can really tell you like in detail, like almost like
Yeah.
like a dictionary, tell you exactly about each film. I actually really struggle to explain movies. I think it exists in sort of a emotional
Mm,
level for me for a lot.
yeah.
Yeah.
Also, that emotional level that films exist in, like, what is it about films that really speak to you? That's perhaps different to theatre, because I
Yeah.
think for me as an actor, I'm like, in some ways, acting is acting, and I can take that with me. But like, I mean, I don't know if you have any ambitions theatrically, but what is it about the medium of film that is special and also different to short form, like someone making a thing on their phone sideways and it's 3 seconds and it's because in a way that's more theatrical in some ways because it's just kind of one take. But yeah, what is it about film for you?
I think I actually really, I think if I had to boil it down to one thing, it's like, it's the construction of it. It's the fact that you can, it has an artifice like theatre, like it's obviously not a real thing. But with theatre, it's literally a person standing in front of you. I think what I like about film is that, you've worked really hard to take all these pieces and put them all together in a
Uh,
way that they create an emotional reaction in the audience, as if the audience is like in the movie. And I think
mm,
that magic of it, that's what I love about movies. Obviously, watching Mulholland Drive last night at Academy. Sorry,
yeah.
Justin.
I can't believe I didn't get an invite.
I
I
know
would
what I
love
know. I know. I should. I was like, duh. This is Justin. This
it's
is
so
perfect
funny.
with his pals as well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um. But yeah, just gosh, that movie every time I see it. Favorite movie, obviously, but like it's like a dream. Like it has a dream
Mm,
logic to it.
mm,
But I completely understand emotionally that movie, and yeah, the atmospheres, the music, the
mm.
colors, like God, everything. It's like a visual feast. So I think, yeah.
The
Oh,
construction to create the emotional experience, because then the emotional experience feels very intangible and magical, but the fact that there is a structure and a sequence in order to create that is quite fascinating, eh? And I
it's
feel
really
the same about
fascinating.
acting. Yeah.
Well,
Okay, oh, yeah, what were you gonna say?
no, it will be like our premiere, like watching it back, seeing people react to this film and knowing, and you will know too. You'll be like, that's like, I know what was happening in the room. That wasn't happening, or like,
Yeah, yes.
how constructed it is, but people, you
Mm.
know,
Well, it's similar to magic. I've been reflecting lots about magic and my relationship to magic, and I've always loved practicing it on my own and learning about it. But there is that as well, I think, because when you see a great magic trick, there's just this like, wait, what? And it is a little bit cerebral, but it's also like emotional, especially very visual stuff. And I think, yeah, there's something similar in us that drew me to that because it is all technical. It is all technical, do hold it like this, not like this, and you need to get their eye here and all that. And I think similar to acting, where you have a certain amount of craft around the way you can create a performance, and then on the other side of that, you just let go, and then there's just this feeling, I suppose. There's this feeling that's happening. And en masse, I think, which is quite cool.
mm,
Going back to the Taika thing of Hunt
mm,
for the Water People was the fact that these people next week who are gonna watch your film, you will create a reaction in them, but not actively. Like, you're not there
totally.
doing it. You actually get to do it as well,
Yeah.
which must be
And the audience, it's kind of like magic. They like, their first reaction is to believe what they're seeing, even if they
Mm.
don't believe, even if they're like, oh my God, no way that can happen. They
It's like the suspending of disbelief thing, right? Like, yeah,
totally,
yeah,
a,
yeah.
and so it's kind of interesting to be like, I spent a lot of the editing process being like, oh, people gonna think this is strange, are they gonna think it's odd? But like, when you put
Mm,
something in front of them, their first thought is not, what's this filmmaker doing? Unless they are filmmakers, in which case sometimes that is
mm,
what
mm,
they're thinking. But they're going, I'm watching this character do something. I'm invested in what the character's up to. I'm not
mm.
quite, picking apart every single decision this filmmaker's made.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Not everyone. Some people are doing that.
Well, yeah, I mean, I was totally right. I remember, yeah, when I watched, The Odyssey, I went and the only tickets available were right at the front.
No, you got
Me and
big
my
foreheads, did
me and
you?
my cousin went, and because he really insisted on going, so I organised it, but then it was, like, right at the front, and I was like, "Wow." on the plus side, you have to experience that once because we all think that's going to be bad. You know, we're all like, we could never do that. Now I know. And it was kind of bad. It was kind
Yeah.
of terrible. Like, it's too
Was it
big.
loud? Is the
So
speaker?
loud.
It would be
I think
really loud.
they're
Yeah.
behind, right? I think they're behind it.
Yeah.
So anyway, we sat at the front. And after I got over this is stupid, I'm seeing a skewed view of the picture. I just sat in awe because it completely enveloped my senses. Like, I couldn't see anything else. And it was so big. It was almost godlike. And I think perfect
Yeah.
for the scale of the Odyssey. And I noticed my mouth was open for the whole thing. And because it's also long, you kind of get swept into, it's almost a trance. And then I was taken by the word that came to my head. I was like, man, it's such an act of generosity for this filmmaker to make this thing and say, because they're taking care of my senses. They're going, "Hey, this is what you see. And then you're going to see this really close up. And then you're going to see this, and then this, and this." And because I was in that state of awe, I was like, man, I'm so grateful to the filmmaker for going to the trouble and thinking about it and crafting it in order to make me feel this way. And it was the first time I kind of thought of film as a real act of generosity. And the same with your film, you know, like I sat down and watched it and was taken along the journey of the character. You know, I'm not thinking about the construction of it because that's for us as craftspeople, that's our business to think about. But the people we're making films for, just being taken on a human journey where we just get to watch, go, what's happening now? Oh, what's happening? Oh, there's that person again. Oh no, you know what I mean? And I just think that's it's such a beautiful, funny little contract that we're making, eh? With
It'll
people.
be no, you're right. It'll be. I think that will be the thing that I appreciate the most about the premiere is just like
Yeah.
getting to hear people's reactions. And I mean, yeah, I think that's the point of it for me. I mean, beyond the sort of, the story I want to tell and what I want people to feel and
Yeah.
stuff and what I want them to think afterwards. I think that, yeah, that theatrical experience is what I'm really
Mm.
looking forward to. And I think the film is, The Ungrateful Tenant, it's not made for on your laptop at home. I think it
Mm.
is a film that's made for in the theaters. So hopefully
Yeah,
we can
because there
get
is
there.
no way.
Like,
Like, yeah, I mean, that would be really, I think it's got a great chance, like we talked about the other day, in terms of like the specificity of what it is, a silent film, and it is of this type. So, and I agree that because silent films weren't played in a small thing, you know, they were connected to vaudeville. So part of the experience, just like with Wilder People, is people how they're reacting. And it's great that you're at the Hollywood because I think that's something that's so fun about watching. I mean, it must have been a trip to watch, in more ways than one, I suppose, Mulholland Drive there, just with people cracking up and
so
reacting and
yeah, I mean, yeah, no, that's the thing. I mean, actually, I will say when the film festival used to do silent films
yeah,
a
yeah.
couple years back, they did them at the Civic. Like, it was incredible to watch, like, contemporary audiences, like, laughing to this
Mm,
man from, like, 100 years ago, making a
yeah.
visual gag, that
Yeah.
because we don't, it's hard to feel connected to people from different times,
Mm,
because you're like, what, we live completely different realities, really. But seeing that and people really respond to that made me go, like, oh, okay, if I did a silent film, like people, it's just visual stuff. People can
yeah,
still
yeah.
get it
Yes.
even if there's no talking.
And you lay the context out, right? Like that's part of the art form as you go, here's this character and this is where they live. And as specific as it feels, like sometimes I'm watching films like, man, this is really a specific situation, but you're there immediately. Like, and
Yeah.
that's part of the
Yeah.
joy of it. Um, yes. Now I was thinking about your taste in films and your knowledge of films and your letterboxed list, and you've
Mm.
got me onto Letterboxd. And one of the things I used to love asking you was like, "What movie should I watch? What movie should I watch?" And I feel like maybe doesn't have there's never a number, but a few films, perhaps Mulholland Drive is one where you're like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe you have not seen that," or "How can you not have seen that?" So if there's someone who perhaps wants to broaden their knowledge of films, you know, what are the ones that you would take them to? Perhaps there's one that, that's a really weird Werner Herzog one. You're like, "Oh, watch that because that'll stretch you in that way." And then there's a really well constructed one. Rear Window, I think you literally told me to watch a Rear Window, and I watched it on September no, Rear Window. So like, what are the films that you're like, "Oh, if you wanna broaden your knowledge of films, start here." What would those be?
Gosh, I'm gonna have to get up a list, Justin. Do you
Get the
mind?
list,
I'm
get the
gonna
list.
have to
Well,
get
'cause
into
actually
my letterbox.
you gave me a letterbox list,
I
right?
think I did. Do I still have
Yeah.
it live? I think
I
I did. I
think
did. I
so,
must
yeah.
have it. Maybe. Um.
But it
Oh
was the
God.
greatest thing, like, when you gave me that, and then I got to just work my way through, and then there was also the added thing of being like, "Oh, now I wonder why Connor's chosen this one," and, like,
Yeah, because I
yeah.
mean, some of them. Maybe didn't. You might have been like, "What was this movie?" Or like, "Why? Why did he choose that one?" You know. Was there any ones that you're like, "What are you up
I
to,
feel like
Connor?"
I don't think it was on the list, but I think you, me, and Beth watched it at your place, near Morningside, and it had Shelley Duvall in it, and she was
Oh,
like a
that was the movie I was gonna say. That was
roommate.
the that was the movie I was gonna say. Three
What is that
Women.
movie? What is it?
That's the top of my list. Yes, okay. Well, that's my ultimate movie night movie. Three Women by Robert Altman. Yeah, it's Sissy Spacek, Shelley Duvall. It's the ultimate roommate flatmate movie. I think
Yeah.
it's the best
Oh,
one
right,
out
so there's
there.
a connection to The Ungrateful Tenant, yeah.
Totally, but also just the whole yeah. I remember that was Rob Altman's like he had a dream, like, and
Yeah.
he took it to his producer and was like, "This is a dream I had," and then they developed it into a script. But yeah, I think it's so relatable that movie. Do you remember much about it?
I don't remember that. I just remember really loving Shelley Duvall because she's so wonderfully strange.
She's so shy. She's
But that's
she's
on
yeah,
the
she
list.
plays that character who's like like the new person comes in, Sissy Spacek, to like the day spa working
Didn't
at
they, like,
it,
literally
and
share a
Shelley.
room as well, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah. And Charlie's like, this is this person. We're all friends and stuff, but like Sissy Spacek can see that everyone's like, oh my, like doesn't want to be around Shelley Duvall. But then there's like this beautiful like status shift in the movie where like
yeah.
the tables turn and it's yeah, the whole thing of it is I find fascinating. I love that movie. So that would
But
actually be one that I'd start with. Three
what is that
Women.
called again? Three Women.
Three Women.
Three Women.
Um
Okay.
I want to say, oh, here's Justice. When did they make this?
This would have been maybe around 5 years ago, or
Oh
maybe
my
even.
goodness.
So what is the couple more that jump out for you there that you would send people?
That I would send people to go watch.
Yeah.
I mean, Night of the Hunter. I know that that's like one that is big on Letterboxd now. Like that's got a lot
Mm.
of but yeah, that one the only film that Charles Lawton made in the 50s with it's a film noir, very like heightened lighting and angles and whatnot about these kids that are like on the run from this their like mother marries this priest or like prophet or something or preacher. She
Yeah.
remarries a preacher who's like actually is just after this money that their dad has left them, and so these two children like go on the run from this from what's his name? Oh my god, what's the actor's name? Um what is his name? He's iconic. Oh, Robert Mitchum. And
Yeah.
yeah, that
Yeah.
one I love that movie. I think yeah, it's just visually so amazing and just strange. It's a really strange but beautiful film. And then what is another one that I mean, there's so many. Oh, I also love Martin Scorsese's Cape Fear. Have you seen
Oh,
that?
yeah, I have seen that. They're remaking they've just remade it with
Yeah,
Javier Bardem,
yes.
is that right?
I started watching the
Yeah.
remake, but yeah, I that is like his best movie, and I want to I want to remake a Cape Fear at some point.
Okay, well, this is a perfect segue to a question I have. Thank you for those. Thank you for those.
Yeah.
Those are three great
Oh
ones
no,
that I.
Justin, I'm going to keep going. No, imagine.
Well, I just thought we could do a regular segment because I really
Yeah, yeah,
love hearing. We actually should do one that's like I watch the movie and then we talk about it. Actually, that would be quite
yeah,
cool.
yeah, yeah. Sorry, what were
Um,
you going to say there?
I'm gonna say, so you're about to kind of complete this for this section of Ungrateful Tenant, and there's the life beyond that, as you've alluded to, in terms of like festivals and hopefully a theatrical release, and then like beyond, right? But what is an itch that you still have unscratched? Not necessarily about this film, but what do you want to do? Not necessarily right next, but what's something that you still want to do?
True. Yeah, it's hard to think about the next thing because
Yeah.
I mean, truth be told, I don't have like I've got heaps of ideas and scripts and whatnot, but
Mm.
this has been such a singular project and it's been so attached to my identity that, and it's taken years to kind of develop it that I imagine that's what I'm up against
Yeah.
next.
Yeah.
Um, I had this thought the other day though of something that I really, yeah, I think working with actors and in a way that is like very performance based. I think making a film in an isolated amount of time is something I really want to do.
Mm.
Cabin in the Woods movie or something like that. But yeah, I think I actually do want to try, and obviously this all comes with money and whatnot. It's uh, to kind of make a film traditionally, but I would love to, yeah, get a DOP, have a small crew,
Yeah.
um, and have a few actors, and make um, yeah, a film in that scale of like
And I hear in
um,
that it's contained as well, that it doesn't
yeah,
span.
yeah, exactly, yeah, one night or something, yeah, that
Oh,
truly
wow,
that,
that contained. Okay.
or yeah, something like that. But again, I mean, who knows? Like,
Hmm.
it's all about the idea, isn't it? Like, it's all about what serves the idea. So I might be, I might end up making a film like this again, really, you know?
Count me in, count me in.
Yeah, exactly. Keep going again, like, you know?
Um, so I have maybe one other question I'd love to ask, and it may be kind of abstract, and I think we've covered a lot of it in what we've talked about. But it's proving to be a bit of a through line with the other conversations that I've had. Um, and the question is this: what would you say to someone who they feel they are not living into their full potential? Like they feel like there's something a little more. Um, what advice would you give to that person?
Guess, like, honestly, it's a journey. Like, I think that's like, you know, it's our whole entire life is like these questions, you know? I think you can surprise yourself by, I'm trying to be more articulate with this. I think actually time is the answer to
Mm.
so many of these things, and like, I totally relate to that feeling, and I go through waves of it for myself sometimes, but right now I feel like this is what I'm meant to be doing. But all that, as much as I've like forced that feeling or been like, oh, I need to just like get out and do something, it's just all been in the journey and in the time of it. Like, you know, me now being someone that can get up on a stage and talk about my movie, um, that's just been years of
Mm.
pursuing it, and you surprise yourself by what you're capable of. Yeah, I'm not sure. Is that
That totally, and I
eloquent?
think it also rings true of what we've been talking about today in
I I
terms of.
I I I think what I mean is like it takes the time it takes. I think that
Mm.
that is,
Yeah.
whatever that means. Yeah.
Yes. Well, that reminds me of a quote I heard, which is, "We overestimate what we can achieve in a year and underestimate what we can achieve in a decade." And I think that really sums or rings true of what you're saying there of like, there may feel like there's a rush because it's like, oh, there's this thing, like I
Yes.
want to do this
Yes.
thing, but actually, life is long and it just takes time. So I feel like that makes perfect sense. Yeah.
Yeah, but actually funny, my dad ran into a couple of filmmakers from broadcasting school yesterday because
Yeah.
he's on the hunt in Christchurch to get tickets to sold to our film. So he had the
Yeah.
program and he went up to these kids and he was like, "Look, like my son went to broadcasting school and look, he's got a film in the film fest. Like, come along." And they were like, "Oh my god, wow!" And I'm like, "Dad, tell them it took 13 years." Like, no, obviously, but like, like, yes,
Yeah.
amazing, but that was a 13-year journey from
Mm,
broadcasting school finishing to now. Like, yeah,
yeah. And I think, I think that's really right. And we often in the culture get tricked by seeing these like overnight successes. People suddenly have a thing, but it's like,
yeah,
if not all of those people have got exactly the same story, a similar thing of like, and there's probably people in Auckland right now that are like, oh, Conor Bowden overnight success, like suddenly you've got this
yeah,
movie in do you know what I mean? And it's like,
yeah. They'll be like, "What?" Yeah.
really heartening to see just the process. So yeah, I hear like trust and time and stuff. Hey Connor, thank you so much for your time. I would love to know where can people find you online if they want to find out more about you or connect with you. Is
Yes.
there a place that you would send them?
Honestly, Instagram, The Ungrateful Tenant, that's, or my letterboxd actually, get on my letterbox. What am I?
Yes,
I
what's your letterboxd?
What's my letterbox handle? It's Conbow7, CONBOW7,
Number seven.
Conbow7.
Right.
Follow me on Letterbox, follow The Ungrateful Tenant on Letterbox, add it to your watch list.
Yeah. And give
Doing the
good
plug.
reviews or give like really funny, what are those lists that they often do on Letterboxd? It's like
Or like the like joke lists, like,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
They'll be like, so someone will be like, I thought this movie didn't have enough dialogue or something.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, it's got a few reviews at the moment. My one is "What's up with this guy?" question
I
mark.
love that. I do love that. I
Um,
need to put one like that actually. I need to put one in.
honestly, I'm all about the joke reviews. I think that's
Yeah.
what Letterboxd is for.
Yeah. Hey, well, thank you so much for your time, Connor. You're so inspiring, and I am so grateful that I am the grateful tenant in your creative practice. I'm so grateful that I get to be part of it. And, of course, there's the dream that you have of having this film in the film festival, but unwittingly, you've like created a dream for me. Like I've got a movie that's in the film festival, and that's because
Amazing.
of you. So
That's
it's like
awesome.
this these when someone like you pursues their dream and they work through the stuff that's hard to get it done over a span of time, there's all these ripple effects that happen out. So I just really want to acknowledge and honor that because there's a
Thank you,
whole
Justin.
that are really grateful.
But it is also because of you as well. I will say it's also because of you.
It's kind of like it's a great memory. We can just
Yeah,
do
we
this.
just do this the whole time.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's okay. So thank you so much for your time, and I would love to chat
Thank you,
again
Justin.
soon. Thank you so much for listening or watching to my conversation with Connor. Isn't he amazing? Isn't he completely remarkable and generous and clever and brave and all of those wonderful things to get this movie made? I just find it so inspiring. Hey, I was thinking if you wanted to connect with Connor, you can go on Letterboxd, his Letterboxd, and his handle is Conbow7. I've got a letterbox too, but I don't know I need to figure that out and share it with you. And if you want to connect with me, I also blog every day on my website, justinrogersnz.com. So if you want to read that, you can go and have a look at that. I also have a newsletter that I send out every Sunday, so you can sign up and be part of my newsletter. But thank you so much for taking the time to listen, and I'll see you in the next one.